there guys, PortalMaster9351 here, and in today's video, I'm going to be kind of talking a little bit about what I think about the brand new, newly announced game, Starlink-Battle for Atlas. Now, if you're not very familiar with what Starlink is supposed to be, I highly recommend going and watching my other video on it, which is in regard to the actual announcement of the game. I'll leave a link in the description so you can go check it out and familiarize yourself a little bit with the Starlink game. But a TLDR version, or just basically a quick synopsis of kind of what Starlink is, it's basically No Man's Skylanders. And that's a nickname that a lot of people in the broader gaming community have actually given it, and I think it's probably a very accurate way of putting it. So it takes place in a star system in the Pleiades called Atlas, and that's actually a real place. I'll talk more about that in a minute. You can actually look up and look at the star known as Atlas in the wintertime. But basically, it's a solar system, and there are 7 planets, each with species, flora, fauna, and various inhabitants on each planet. It has an ecosystem. Each planet has an ecosystem, and it's very complicated, and it involves flying around in your starship and actually manually, physically traversing these planets on the ground. Now, it is a Toys to Life game. That's an important distinction to make. I've got a couple of pictures that Wyrock managed to take. Shout out for him for letting me use these pictures. But basically, these are the Toys to Life things that you'll be able to use, the starships. And in my opinion, they have some of the best looking toys that I've ever seen for a Toys to Life game. I'm very excited for this. I love space, and so I think these toys are a really, really cool aspect and step in the right direction. Now, there's not too much gameplay of Starlink that's available yet. They had a little bit of gameplay at the Ubisoft booth, and you can see a little bit of that here, but this is sort of the ground. It's planetary. Okay. You can either fly your spaceship in space or on the planet, but there's also non-spaceship combat, and so I think that's a really cool thing. It's a lot like Skylanders Superchargers, where you can play outside of your vehicle, but you can also fight in your vehicle, and I think it's going to be really cool that you can still control your starship even while you're in a planet's atmosphere. So it's not like you're just flying around in space, and then you've landed. No, you can actually fly around on the planet in your spaceship just like it's an airplane, and then get out. And I think that's a really, really neat aspect of this game that, personally, it really excites me. That was something that No Man's Sky was supposed to have, and I think at this point you can probably see why it's being called No Man's Skylanders. Now, pricing is going to be a very interesting thing about this game, and I think that's what's really going to make or break this game. CoinOp TV was actually at E3 and talked to the guys at the Ubisoft booth and said that they were going to make this very consumer-friendly in terms of pricing. So that means cheap is what it means, and all the parts are plastic, and I mean, just like every other Toys to Life game. But what I'm saying is, Light Seekers, in my opinion, are a little too expensive. But as long as they maintain a reasonable price point, I really think this game is going to sell really well. Now, one thing that Toys to Life has always sort of claimed it does, but doesn't exactly do, is appeal to all age groups. Skylanders is supposed to appeal to not only little kids, but also older people as well, like adults and so on, so the parents can play with their kids. I think, personally, that Starlink is going to be one of the first games that's really going to capture that essence of, I don't know how co-op is going to work, I'm not terribly familiar with that, but being able to play with your parents, if that's a thing you like to do, I think is going to be more fun for both age groups with Starlink than ever. Just because of the sheer complexity that's present in the game. Now, one thing I'm curious about are how upgrades are going to work in this game, because that's another really important aspect that's going to really affect how much I enjoy the game. If it's just about buying new parts to upgrade your ship, that's kind of lame. And that's why I don't think they'll do that. I think it'll be a lot like Lightseekers, where your gear levels up as you play with it. And if that's the case, I really think that's going to be a cool aspect of, you know, trying to level up and upgrade your ice turret or whatever. I really think that's cool. Another thing I think is really cool in terms of the ships are that there are different pilots. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to affect the overall playability of the game, but I know that there are several pilots, each with distinct names and personalities, and it's going to be really interesting to see how that affects the actual game, because, you know, what's the point of buying a pilot if it doesn't change anything? I mean, obviously it's going to... I guess if it changes anything, it'll be the on-the-ground combat, not the actual combat in your spaceship sort of thing. But, I mean, essentially it's toys to life in space. And I really can't say how many times I think that it's a really neat concept. Now, I'm going to expand upon this in an upcoming video, but I think its release is going to be at a very interesting time. Fall of 2018. Now, if my theory is correct, there will be a new Skylanders game in the fall of 2018, a new actual Skylanders game. So, it's going to be interesting seeing how Starlink is able to compete with Skylanders, because, you know, it's a different game. It's a fundamentally different game than Skylanders. It's just Toys to Life. That's literally the only similarity that it has to Skylanders. So, it's going to be interesting seeing how it competes with Skylanders, if it competes with Skylanders, and if it's able to be successful. Now, I think it is going to be successful, because from what I've seen just on YouTube, there's a lot of buzz about this game. A lot of people are excited for this game, even people who are, generally speaking, more for more hardcore adult games. So, it's kind of interesting. It's drawing from a broader gaming audience than Skylanders did. I think Skylanders might have initially drawn in some people from the larger gaming community, but I think that interest kind of died off probably by the third game, just because, I mean, by the time, I don't know, it's inherently a kid's game. No matter how serious it tries to take itself, it's always going to be a kid's game. So, Starlink is going to potentially tap into an audience that's sort of been turned away from Toys to Life in the past because of its childish aspects, if you understand what I'm saying. So, overall, I do think it's going to be successful, though. And I think that's a pretty big thing. I mean, I really didn't expect another Toys to Life game to be announced this year. So when they announced this, I was very, very intrigued about how this whole game was going to work. And I've sat and I've thought about it for some time now, and I've come to the conclusion that I think that this is probably one of the best times, actually, to announce this game. And I mean, they were showing off some gameplay, and you saw it earlier, they were showing off some gameplay at E3, and they're making the key distinction that it's not that far in development yet, but my gosh, guys, that early development footage, even now that they're showing, holy cow, it looks so good. The game, it's not choppy, it's not bad. I mean, it truly does look crisp and polished, and really, really good. So, that's sort of kind of a rundown of what I think about this new Starlink-Battle for Atlas game. It's going to be really interesting to see if there are any more Toys to Life games that get announced within the next couple of years. And like I said, in an upcoming video where I'm going to kind of talk about where Toys to Life is as a whole, I'm going to sort of expand upon those thoughts about, you know, why they chose to announce it now, why they're still going on with Toys to Life, and I think that's going to be an interesting video coming up soon. But as for my personal thoughts about Starlink-Battle for oh wait, no! There's one thing I forgot to mention, and that is future expansions to this game. I know the game is, honestly, it's, what is it now? It's got to be at least a year and 2 or 3 months away from release. So, even now, I'm still curious about something. So, I was saying this earlier. Atlas is a real star in a star cluster called the Pleiades. And it's this cluster of 9 stars, 9 really, really bright stars. Very, very close together. And like I said, you can see this from Earth. And Atlas is one of the brightest stars in there. So, something I'm really curious about is the subtitle of Starlink is the Battle for Atlas. So it's going to be really interesting to see if future expansions go outside of Atlas's solar system to other stars, potentially in the Pleiades, potentially outside of the Pleiades. That's going to be really, really interesting. I think there's going to be a lot of lore that they're going to have to explore in Starlink, and that's something I'm very excited for. I've come to really start appreciating the lore in video games, and I'm really interested to see where the lore for Starlink goes and sort of how that develops as time goes on. But anyways, that is truly all I have for you guys today. So what I'm really curious about is, what do you guys think about Starlink? Are you guys liking what you've seen so far? I really am kind of curious what you guys are thinking. But that's all I have for you guys today. Like I said, this has been Portal Master 9351. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.